everybody, it's Danielle. Excuse me. I cannot believe that Thanksgiving is next week. I feel like November just started, and this has to be the fastest November in the history of all Novembers ever. I feel like it just started. But with Thanksgiving being next week, I just wanted to take a moment and thank you all for being such great supporters of our store. A lot of you, well, all of you following us here on Facebook, that means a lot to us. And of course, when you come in the store and shop and support our small local business, you're really helping our family's dream come true and directly impacting our local economy here. So we are so thankful for you guys. And I'll do another post on how thankful we are come Thanksgiving Day. But Thanksgiving also comes Black Friday, and then shortly after that, the holiday season, where things get a little hectic and a little promotional. You know, we run a lot of sales and send out some coupons and things like that. So make sure that you are checking your mailbox. And if you don't get our text yet, then that is one of the most effective ways to make sure that you're getting all of our coupons. So if you don't get our text yet, you just text WBUMTP to 41411, and I can type that out in the comments. But that way you make sure that you don't miss out on any of our on our coupons or promotions or anything like that. But before we get too promotional, because that time of year is just coming, I did want to take a moment to go over some feeders that you should have out during the winter time and this time of year. So this early cold front that we had really pushed a lot of birds our way, and I wanted to make sure that you guys are attracting all of them because some of them will be new for you, and I don't want you to miss out. So before things get too crazy with Black Friday and then holiday shopping, I wanted to just give you guys a few little tips on how to get the most birds to your feeders. All right. First of all, I want everybody to know that we've got our winter blend products back in. And if you were using our nesting blend cylinders or food, we have the winter blend version available now. This food has a lot of big nuts and seeds in it. It's our highest fat, highest protein blend that we have. And this blend will attract more birds to your yard. The goldfinches have been going crazy over it at our house. I know they're all a little bit tired from migrating, so there's extra activity right now. But the blends with these larger nuts, or the cylinders with these larger nuts, are great for this time of year because birds are still caching. So what they're doing is they're taking their favorite nut or seed, and they're gonna fly off with it, and they'll tuck it in a little crevice somewhere to save it for later. And I always was wondering if they could remember where they stored it, and apparently they actually do have really great memories, which makes sense because a lot of times you'll see the same birds coming back year after year to the same feeders. So they do remember where they cache their seeds from. But our winter cylinder here and the loose seed is a great option this time of year while birds are caching. They really prefer those larger nuts, and they will take these and go hide them. But in addition to having those larger seeds and nuts for caching, they also have higher fat and protein than any of our other seed blends. So you can feed this by itself in a feeder, or you can mix it in with one of your other seed blends to kind of beef it up a little bit and provide them a little extra nutritional value. And it's not that it's freezing cold like I mentioned in one of our previous videos, but the nights are also shorter, or the nights are longer, the days are shorter, so there's less time to forage for food. So they really need the most bang for their buck this time of year. So anyway, so winter blend is back, and I would highly recommend putting that in or blending it with some of your seeds. The next thing that we have right now is the millet seed. So millet is great for attracting all those winter sparrows. We have so many chipping sparrows in our yard right now, and they're adorable. They're heavy eaters, and they're just so cute. But they don't really come to a lot of the regular seeds. So you want to make sure that you have millet out. We usually recommend putting millet out in a feeder by itself because a lot of times your other birds like chickadees and titmice will prefer sunflower seed, and you'll see them toss this millet out onto the ground. So to avoid wasting the millet, I would recommend putting it in a tray feeder like this one here. I love this tray feeder. It's new. It's made out of recycled plastic, but it's really cute. So I'd recommend putting the millet into your tray feeder. to really attract those wintering sparrows, they prefer to feed off the ground. Actually, chipping sparrows would eat from the tube feeder too, but they also like a tray, and then you can really accommodate all those ground feeding birds from the one feeder. So don't forget to put out the millet and a tray feeder. That's really a fun thing to do this time of year. Additionally, we just started getting many reports of goldfinches being back in town. So your finch feeder is going to have smaller ports like this, and it's made to hold the thistle or Niger seed or a finch blend. And I usually like to recommend starting off with a finch blend because then you have a little bit of sunflower chips in there too. If the goldfinches don't find it right away, then your other birds will pick at it some. This feeder is really easy to clean, which I think is great because the thistle and Niger clumps really easily when it gets wet. And this feeder is also really protected from the weather with only these tiny holes to be open. So not a lot of moisture gets in there. But your goldfinch feeders should definitely go out now. They're all over our feeders in our yard. You could see them on your regular feeder, but a lot of people like to dedicate a feeder just to those goldfinches. So if you have your thistle feeder out, your goldfinch feeder, it should go out now because they're definitely in town. If you don't want to dedicate a feeder just to them, they love our no mess blends or any shelled sunflower seed. They'll eat that as well. Okay, we mentioned this already this year, but the Baltimore Orioles are back in town. We had our first wave, and then it was a little while before people started seeing them again. But they really seem to be back in full swing now. One of our staff members was looking up on the eBird program and saw that really the biggest amount of reports is January and February. But from being in the store and getting lots of feedback, definitely suggest going ahead to put it up now. If you wait till January or February, there's a small chance that you might miss them because they'll already be at someone else's feeders. So we've got this is one of my favorites. The reason being is that the Orioles, and this is what they sound like. These make great gifts for kids because they actually play the song that the bird actually makes. But anyways, this Oriole feeder holds a lot of grape jelly, which is their favorite food. They are attracted to orange and they eat oranges as well and a nectar, but these cup feeders, or these like deep cups, really allow you to put more jelly out. And we found that once you start getting Orioles to your feeder, they eat more grape jelly than almost anything else. Last year, they also ate a lot of mealworms, and they also ate at the no-mess blends. So your no-mess blends are a great coverall, feed almost all your birds. But anyways, this feeder is one of my favorites, recycled plastic, covered to protect it from the rain, and has those deep cups for jelly. So that's for the Orioles, and they are in town now, so make sure your Oriole feeder's out. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that the birds are really heavily hitting up all the Suet products right now. A lot of our fall migrants and birds that have come down from the north are really hungry, and then as weather gets colder, the birds are really going to need that higher fat, higher protein food. So the Suet is really important this time of year, and it gets eaten faster this time of year than many other times of the year. We recommend putting it in a tail prop Suet feeder. So this piece here is what woodpeckers use to stabilize themselves. You'll get more action on a feeder like this than you would just the regular Suet cages. So I definitely recommend doing one of the recycled plastic Suet feeders with the tail prop to get the most activity at your feeder. And our Super Suet is kind of new. So we brought it in around February of last year. So we haven't had it during this time of year when the birds are really just starting to go after the Suet. And even without it being one of the busier Suet times of year, the Super Suet's just been flying out of the feeders. The birds love it because, again, it's higher in fat and protein than the other Suet cakes that we've had in the past. And the birds can really tell a difference in a quality food source and one that is slightly less nutritional. So make sure that you've got your Suet out right now. I think that's about it to sum it up for the wintertime birds. Of course, I'll do some posts and maybe some other videos soon to kind of recap or really focus on each of these birds that I just mentioned. But to briefly go back over, we have our winter blend, super high in fat and protein, which is key right now. Also has larger nuts, so perfect for caching. So make sure you're using quality seed. We also have the sparrows, all of our wintering sparrows back in town, put out a tray feeder with millet. Don't forget about your goldfinches. They're in town, so put out your goldfinch feeder and your Oriole feeder. And then lastly, just make sure you're putting those Suet products out, especially if you took them down for the summer or the fall, because the birds are eating them a lot right now. All right, guys, soon I'm sure I'll be back on here announcing our Black Friday special. We have something extra special in store for our Daily Savings Club members for the first time ever, and I'm hoping that I can share that with you guys today, but we're waiting on one key thing to happen before I can just publicly announce it. So if you're a Daily Savings Club member, make sure that you are checking your mailbox and make sure that you are tuning into our Facebook, because we've got a little special thing for you guys that we haven't ever done before. All right, you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning in and checking out our video, and happy birding.